Oh, I'm Tomi Lauren. Well, folks, my final thoughts last Monday night upset the Hive. Not bad for episode 2 of the show. Yes, I came for Beyoncé, and the Beehive came for me. Death threats, calls to violence, and a few thousand bee emoticons later, here we are. Now, I've been called a lot in my 23 years, but Donkey of the Day is a new one. But I'm turning the tables on the radio host who gave me the title. Charlemagne Tha God joins me in just a minute. Then, whether it's radical Islamic terrorists or a Looney Tune with a death wish, active shooter situations can happen anytime, anywhere. What you need to know to stay safe. Expert Chris Grolnick is here in Dallas with a safety crash course. Next, he's an Iraqi exile committed to warning the world of the dangers of Islam. Author IQ Razuli joins me tonight as we lift the veil of Islam. Your questions answered. Later, 13 hours and over 3 years of lies. What really happened in Benghazi? Well, real-life operator and Benghazi hero Chris Peranto joins me. From September 11th, 2012 to what difference does it make all the way to present-day Libya, the truth lives here. And finally, come for me, but leave my family out of it. You know I have some final thoughts. That's last, but first, last week you heard my final thoughts on Beyoncé's Super Bowl Black Panther salute, but just in case you missed it, here's a refresher. Beyoncé, really? What is the political message here? Was it Beyoncé and her Black Panther dancers trying to convey here? A salute to what? A group that used violence and intimidation to advance not racial equality, but an overthrow of white domination. The Black Panthers, for those who don't know, were critical of Martin Luther King's non-violent civil rights movement. They didn't believe in change through peace. They promoted violence instead. Listen, I stand behind my final thoughts. Not one word is racist. But as always, I invite folks to disagree. The Beehive, rapper Meek Mill, and a few radio hosts, well, they rolled with it.
Clueless to what's going on in America today. Like every other day, it's a new name being hashtagged on Twitter due to some type of police violence. Okay, Tommy acting like hands up, don't shoot is just a cute slogan somebody made to put on T-shirts. No, hands up, don't shoot was because Michael Brown had his hands up when he was gunned down by Darren Wilson. Like, I just don't understand why speaking out against these kind of injustices is considered wrong in America. And Tommy, why do you keep acting like Beyoncé was trying to bring attention to the Black Panthers? No, Beyoncé is trying to bring attention to the injustices that are happening to other Americans.
So they had their fun with me, but now it's my turn. Joining me now, the infamous host of iHeartMedia's The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne Tha God. Charlemagne, thanks for being with me tonight.
Thanks for having me, Tommy. What's happening?
All right, Charlemagne, please tell me, why was I your donkey of the day?
Well, you know, Donkey of the Day is a segment that is designed to give people the credit they deserve for being stupid. And I think at times we're all stupid to certain situations, especially if we don't have all the information. And I feel like as an American, you know, I think about the quote that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said when he said, an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. As an American, if we see the different injustices that have been happening, you know, with the police and unarmed Americans in America, for Beyoncé to speak out against that and for her to have a video where in the video she specifically says, stop shooting us, I don't see how anybody could have a problem with that. Like, if you have a problem with Beyoncé saying stop shooting us, then that means you must agree with them shooting us.
But Charlemagne, that's the problem here, is my final thoughts weren't about her music or her music video. She's an artist, she's entitled to that. My final thoughts were about her Super Bowl performance and the salute to the Black Panthers, which was a group that was a response to Martin Luther King's nonviolent, peaceful civil rights movement. That's what I took issue with. It's not even her music video, it's not her lyrics, it's that sentiment that was made at the Super Bowl that really got under my skin.
Well, I think you're very misinformed about the Black Panthers as well. I mean, if you look at who the Black Panthers were founded by, they were founded by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. Huey P. Newton had a Ph.D. from the University of California. Bobby Seale, he studied engineering and politics in college. They were created to resist police brutality and the killings of blacks. Okay, they used violence if necessary. They didn't even carry guns unless authorized in a matter of self-defense. They wasn't looking for violence at all, but were willing to get violent if that's what it came to. I even saw something, and I could be wrong, but I thought you kind of likened them to the KKK.
What I'm saying is, if I were to have a Super Bowl performance that was saluting the KKK, I would never do that. I think that that's wrong. And I'm never saying that it is okay. I'm not saying police brutality is okay. What I'm saying is, on a day where you're supposed to unite the country, where white fans and black fans join together, and you have a Super Bowl performance that basically gives a metaphorical middle finger to half the audience, saying that it's us against them, and you salute Malcolm X, you salute the Black Panthers, that is a group that has roots in violence. and I'm not okay with that at the Super Bowl.
They don't have roots in violence. The KKK has roots in violence. The KKK was a hate group.
Charlamagne, are you telling me the Black Panthers were not violent at all?
No, they used violence if necessary. They didn't even carry guns unless authorized in a matter of self-defense. They were not looking for violence. Their main job was the police. The Black Panthers gave away free breakfast. They had a 10-point program where they were just asking for the basic American rights. That's it. They wanted full-time employment. They didn't want to be brutalized by the police. They wanted to be judged by a jury of their peers. They were not violent people. Let me ask you this question. The KKK was a hate group that killed thousands of black men, women, and children over the years just for being black. Just for being black. No other reason. Who have the Black Panthers killed just for being white?
They went after police officers. There were several instances where the Black Panthers, that's the reason the FBI shut them down, is because they were targeting white police officers. And I'm not saying that everything that they did was wrong. I'm sure they did provide some services that were necessary. The problem is, I don't believe in saluting a group. If you want to salute Martin Luther King, like I said on TMZ, go for it. I'm all for that. Beyoncé saluting Martin Luther King, all for it. Saluting the Black Panthers, I take issue with.
Martin Luther King Jr. was not the only black activist out there. And once again, the Black Panthers did not target white police officers. The Black Panthers did not go around saying, hey, let's kill all white cops. That's not what they did. They policed the police, meaning if they saw something like what happened with Sandra Bland going down, where this guy was just pulling Sandra Bland out the car, threw it to the ground, they would intervene with that. If they saw something like Eric Garner getting choked out, they would intervene with that. They weren't just going around targeting white police officers. And for you to spew that rhetoric is dangerous. And I'm going to tell you what else was dangerous. When you said that Jay-Z was a drug dealer for 15 years. I don't know what that had to do with police brutality.
Let's talk about that, because I would love to explain what I'm saying by that. Here's the thing. I am tired of these entertainers and the Hollywood elite talking about problems in their communities, and they handpick, cherry select the certain instances that they want to talk about. Point being here. Beyonce is saying we have a problem in black communities. We're being targeted by the police. If you want to say that, that's fine, but do not ignore other problems in the black communities, and that is that black-on-black violence and the criminal rate in black communities is high, and that's in part because of drug use and abuse, which was promoted and endorsed by her husband. So I'm saying if you want to talk about protecting black communities, you can't just select the things that you want to talk about. You have to be mindful of all of it.
Well, you have to understand, Jay-Z also said in a rap that he went through that, so hopefully the next generation of men didn't have to go through that. He also said, don't follow me, follow my moves. So when you talk about changing the community, Jay-Z changed the community as soon as he decided he wasn't selling drugs anymore. As soon as he decided he wasn't selling drugs anymore, he went into legal businesses and he took other brothers off the street and he showed other brothers the way. So I don't understand how you can sit there and judge somebody off their past, especially when you say that America needs to stop ripping off the historical Band-Aid and give it some time to heal. Okay, and I agree with you on that. But this is the thing. If you don't want us to look at the past in America and the things that happened and you want us to deal with it now, why are you trying to use Jay-Z's past against what Beyonce is saying?
I'm not using it against what Beyonce is saying. I'm saying if we want to talk about the problems in black communities, you can't just talk about police brutality. You have to talk about all of it. Otherwise, it will never be a solution. There are still going to be problems in black communities. If white officers stop shooting any black person, there are still going to be problems in black communities. We need to address that as well.
Okay, if you go to an HIV/AIDS rally, right, and the rally is about HIV/AIDS, Tommy, do you stand up and say, "What about cancer"? Do you?
No, when you go to the Super Bowl and you're celebrating a day when everyone to come together, you don't stand up and salute a terrorist organization like the Black Panthers that committed acts of violence. I would never support a group that was a white supremacist group or any other group. I don't condone that. There are better leaders. There are better leaders than Malcolm X and the Black Panthers.
Malcolm X and the Black Panthers were individuals who just wanted to see black people liberated. They tried to empower black people. You may not agree with their methods, but guess what? We don't always agree with all the methods that America uses at times.
Then let's agree to disagree on that then. I don't agree with their methods. You agree with some of their methods, not all of them. Let's put that aside. And let's move on now, because I want to talk about something that you mentioned on your radio show. And your co-host was reading some of the comments under my video on my Facebook page. And I found it interesting because she cherry-selected some of them that I didn't think was was fair. She did the ones where I had certain fans that were supporting me. And I don't support some of the things that my fans have said. I don't support any of my fans talking about African Americans disparagingly. I don't support that. But what she failed to point out was the numerous death threats, the racist comments made against me, my family, my friends. How come those weren't read on your radio show?
I mean, what did they have to do with the situation?
Exactly. What did they have to do with the situation? They came after me. They came after me in one sentence, Charlamagne. They called me a racist cracker. How do you call someone a racist cracker in the same sentence?
How do you call the Black Panthers a terrorist group when that's not what they were?
They committed acts of terror. They were a group that responded with violence to violence with violence. I don't believe that's the way. Martin Luther King didn't believe that was the way. Charlamagne, he didn't believe that was the way. But I want to move on now to something else that you mentioned. You mentioned hands up, don't shoot, and I want to clarify this, because that, by the Justice Department's own account, was a false narrative. So to say that Michael Brown has hands up, don't shoot, quit citing that, because it's false. And that is caught in the argument.
Michael Brown didn't have a gun either. So do you think that whatever Michael Brown was doing in that manner, do you think it should have resulted in his death? Do you think that he should have been gunned down like that?
The grand jury felt that Darren Wilson was in the right. That is the jury system. If you want to disagree with it, that's fine, but that is the way it works in the United States when a grand jury decides.
A grand jury decided O.J. Simpson was in the right, but I bet you think he killed Nicole, don't you?
Again, and now you're talking about me bringing up things that are unrelated. What I'm saying is, using that narrative, you don't have to have a gun to be dangerous. You don't have to have a gun to be dangerous.
Okay, so you think it's fair if I have a gun and me and you get into an altercation and you don't have a gun and I'm a distance away from you and I gun you down? Like, I think about a situation in North Charleston, South Carolina, like Walter Scott, where a routine traffic stop, where Walter Scott tried to flee the scene, he got gunned down in the back. You think he deserved to die?
I am not talking. There is no question that there are problems in this country between police and community, and I'm not going to dispute that.
So why are you trying to?
Then let's cite the correct ones.
Why are you trying to deflect from what Beyoncé was trying to bring attention to, which was police brutality? Like, everybody saying her performance was anti-police. It wasn't. It was anti-police brutality.
What I'm saying is this is part, Charlamagne, this is part of a larger movement. Just like anything, just like I'm sure the Black Panthers started out as. The Black Lives Matter movement went from something with great intentions that were meant to bring about a political message. And then it turned ugly. When they're protesting in the street and they're roasting pigs and they're calling death to cops, that's when it turns ugly, and that's when I take issue with it.
Let me say this to you, right? When it comes to police officers, we know all police officers aren't bad. You have these incidents where certain police find themselves in these situations, and situations like Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, they happen. Should we judge all police by those few police officers who went rogue? Should we judge all police and say all police are bad? No, we shouldn't. So you shouldn't do that either. Because that's what you're doing. You're saying that all of the Black Lives Matter movement is wrong because you may have a few.
No, I'm saying it's a movement. I'm not saying a few individuals. Not every individual in the Black Lives Matter movement is wrong. There are several that have great intentions. The movement has changed. The movement has changed. It has become something that has been a method of intimidation, and it's led to depolicing. And you and I can disagree about this all day long.
You're lying. How
is that? Am I lying? Are there not Black Lives, Charlamagne, is there not Black Lives Matter protesters that are calling death of the police and they're roasting pigs outside of police departments? Is that false?
So once again, based off the actions of those few, we should judge the whole? By that logic, we should say that all police are bad. By that logic.
It's a movement. It's not a couple individuals. It's a movement of people that were rioting in the streets.
The police not a movement. Are the police not a movement?
The police are not a movement. That's a job. That's community protection. That's law enforcement. That's part of society.
So if three people are doing their job wrong, I should judge all police across America based off the few that are killing unarmed black men?
No. But the Black Lives Matter movement.
The Black Lives Matter movement. So you shouldn't do that with the Black Lives Matter movement, Tommy. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. You're reinforcing a negative stereotype that is not true about the Black Lives Matter movement. All Black Lives Matter want is the same thing that we all want. We just don't want to be gunned down for random routine traffic stops.
I agree with you. There are
wanna be
better
gunned
ways to
down
do it.
because
And you know what, Charlamagne? I don't want to speak out using my First Amendment rights and speak out against the entertainer, and I don't want to get death threats for my friends and family because of it. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the division.
Well, listen, Tommy, I'm going to say this to you, and you're speaking to somebody who speaks their mind quite often. You can't say what you want to say and then tell people how to react to it.
No.
You just can't do that.
No, what I'm saying is, can we have
right?
a conversation about it instead of using profanity, calling me every name in the book, using emoticons to assassinate my Instagram page and go after my friends and family? There's a better way. You and I having this conversation, that's
Tommy, how old are you?
productive.
Tommy,
That's
how old are you?
productive.
You're right, but how old are you, Tommy?
I'm 23 years old.
You're 23 years old, and you're probably talking about a bunch of 13-year-old kids who love Beyonce. Okay?
No.
Like me and you are
I wish it
having a
were.
conversation.
I wish it were, but there are many people, and I don't agree with it. You and I having this conversation, this is the kind of thing that needs to take place because I think that there's healing that can come from it. And I respect your opinion, and I appreciate you being here with me today. And I'm not going to call you a donkey or any other kind of animal, but I appreciate you giving me the slogan.
Listen, I called you a donkey simply because I feel like, you're misinformed. And, even when you said, we have to stop pulling the historical Band-Aid off and let America heal, you're acting like it's not fresh wounds now. We're not talking about slavery and segregation. We're talking about police brutality that's been going on for years. You've seen the Rodney King tape. Like, black people
I've seen it, but you know what else? And we have to wrap up. What I will say is that you and I are going to disagree. I don't think that it was appropriate to salute the Black Panthers. I don't think that was the way to go about it. I don't think that was the way to bring unity to an audience. I don't agree with what she did. You can agree with what she did, and that's why we live in this country.
If somebody from the LGBT community, gets on stage and they got the gay flag colors and they're saluting being pro-gay, does that mean that they're against straight people?
No, but they're also not.
Okay,
they're not. What they're not doing, though, is they're not saluting a group that use violence as a means to an end.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second. If the KKK can protest in Columbia, South Carolina, because they're upset that the Confederate flag came down, if that hate group can protest, why can't Beyonce salute the Black
It's not
Panthers?
that you can't, because the First Amendment does protect both methods of speech. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be able to. I'm saying I didn't agree with it. I don't agree with what the KKK is doing either, but their First Amendment rights are protected as well. Don't agree with it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think when Beyonce says, stop shooting us, do you disagree with her saying that?
Absolutely not. Saluting the Black Panthers, I disagree with. Saluting the Black Panthers, I disagree with. You and I are going to disagree all day long. I have to go. I thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and I respect your opinion. Have a great night.
Thanks for having me. Peace.
Bye. Oh, coming up next, run, hide, fight. Turns out the worst advice you can give in an active shooter situation. Former Marine SWAT leader and active shooter prevention expert Chris Grolnick literally wrote the safety manual, and he's here in Dallas with me right after the break. Don't miss this.